If we could have training facilities that are funded by the government, if we could have coaches that are actually funded by the government, most of these coaches have to be paid. Many of them are working pro bono, like the Catholic priest at E10. He doesn't charge anybody anything. That man has just been chipping out and bringing champions in and out whenever you want it, and he does not even ask for a penny. When you look at the exposure to international competitions, these guys cannot be able to afford to be able to go out there and compete with other people so that they can actually feel the pressure of what it means to actually be outside the country and compete with their fellow competitors. It is hard for them to actually be able to do it. But when they go to other countries like now Bahrain, where they have very few people that are competing, yet they have the money and resources to invest in athletics, and they get to treat their athletes with decorum. There is no corruption. And when you look at the exposure that they generate and they give them, Yavi has ran, I think, 4 or 5 different Diamond League races last year. How many do you think Major Beatrice Chebet ran last year? She didn't run many. I think she only ran 2. And then before that, she was running the cross country. We have this young girl, Immaculate Anyango. She's the current second fastest 10,000 meters cross country runner. Immaculate came to Atlanta. She attempted to run the Pitch to Road race. She had no coach. She was all by herself. She got into the bus, went to the hotel. The following day, she was flying out. Nobody cared about her. Those are the issues to why when you find some of our athletes, they get an opportunity when they get out here, they will run away with it and leave. And don't forget, we have sporters that are always looking for them. They're always looking for them. So the moment they find their ticket to be outside the country and a sporter gets to see their talent, they pick them up and they never return back to Kenya.
Na ni furaha kujiunga nanyi tena wapenzi wasikilizaji, tukiwa tumekuandalia taarifa za kusisimua, muziki wa kata viungo na kindumbwe cha siasa au politics ukipenda. We are streaming live on Facebook from Kilimanjaro studios outside Washington DC. We will shortly be going live on YouTube, so please call all your YouTube friends. Please remember to subscribe to both our YouTube and Facebook pages at the One Mic Show, and then follow us on Instagram at One Mic Show. We're also taking live calls tonight at 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak, so save that number. Now later tonight, we'll reveal shocking details on why Kenyan athletes opt to compete for foreign countries. We'll discuss what needs to be done for thousands of world-class Kenyan athletes who miss out on qualifying for international competition. Remember that we have a big announcement on an upcoming guest, and I want you to feel free to start dropping comments below and let us know who you think that guest is. I see some people have already started commenting there. We're going to be reading those comments shortly. Na bila kusahau, tutapokea mziki toka DJ wetu machachari mleta habari DJ Omosh Fire, na tutadunda kule viwanjani na Mika Och jezi nambari 7 mgongoni akituletea habari za michezo. Na moja kwa moja toka Kilimanjaro Studios, mimi mtangazaji na mwana habari wako mpendwa Ali Badawi. Kwetu wananiita mteule na wengine mniite mjukuu wa Masai, because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui, na sibagui. Karibuni.
Talk politics.
All right, now this hour we'll be talking about Kenya's dismal performance in the ongoing Paris Olympic Games. On the show to discuss this is avid Kenyan athletics sports fanatic Louis Achungo. He'll be telling us why Kenya team struggled in events we previously ruled. Louis will also reveal what happened to Kenya's 100-meter sensation Ferdinand Omanyala and why he never made it to the final. Also stay tuned for a big announcement on an upcoming guest, and please drop a comment to tell us who you think this guest is and where you're tuned in from, whether you're tuned in from San Antonio, whether you're tuned in from Houston, Dallas, whether from Silver Spring, Maryland, or Baltimore, whichever part of the country, please drop down, whichever part of the world, please drop down in the comments and let us know where you're tuned in, and also let us know who you think this guest might be that will be coming on later this month. Now, I'm your host and producer, Ali Badawi, and it's Friday the 9th of August, and we are streaming live from Kilimanjaro Studios outside Washington, D.C. Please remember to follow us on our social media handles. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and now on TikTok. On panel with me is Mr. OneMicShow. Our sports anchor Mika Och is joining us via Zoom. Our resident DJ Moshfa is already on the decks and to roga hapa na pale. And also not forgetting that our super producer is none other than Mubelwa Bandio. Now, a couple of guests have already tuned in. Asanteni sana for the early birds who always tend to catch the worm. I can see we have Washeke in the building. Washeke says that important guest is Slay Odwor. She will talk more about her upcoming modeling debut. Now I'm actually getting an idea. I'm actually getting an idea on an episode, but we're going to talk about that later.
You may
attend. Slay anasema Washeke Ndirang. Wow, thank you for the plug. Okay, I don't know whether that's how you sound, Slay, but I think it's very, very close. It's very, very close to that.
It will be Slay again.
Amesema Washeke Ndirang. Wow, thank you for the plug. Okay, yeah, and I think that's your real voice. I'm very good at imitating voices, so I think I did very well there. So feel free kunipigia makofi. And then Washeke anamwambia Slay, I am your hype man. I think you meant hype woman. Hype woman, but anyway, unajua in this day and age of pronouns na nini,
there is no difference.
You have to make sure that
there is no
saying
difference.
The correct
Him,
things.
his, has, hakuna difference hapo.
Yeah, na Slay anasema that's all I need. Very good. And then Stephen JJ anasema Kamala Harris. I know Kamala Harris was in some was having a rally, I think somewhere in Arizona or somewhere. Maybe Stephen JJ, tell us what happened there. We're busy preparing the show, so we've not even been following what's been happening there. But she's been getting big crowds in Wisconsin, in Pennsylvania, in Michigan. You know, she's been getting crowds as many as 15,000 people. So a big deal. And Donald Trump has been having fits over those big crowds that Kamala has been getting. But we're going to be talking politics later on, you know, like as the elections approach. We're going to be talking politics today. It's about sports. And then Slay anasema hapa kukupigia makofi ama nitume watu wa kusalimie. I don't know exactly what Slay is trying to say there, because wajua kusalimiana nowadays, the Kenyans are very good at remixing language and changing meaning of things. Nowadays ukisema kusalimiwa, it's not the kawaida kusalimiwa we know, but
it's not.
Yes, but anyway, you know, a lot has happened since the protests began. And yeah, but I think, you know, like we have quite a bit to cover today, and now with the Paris Olympic Games wrapping up this weekend, Kenya has so far collected 2 Olympic gold medals from Beatrice Chebet in the women's 5 and 10,000 meter finals. Congratulations to Beatrice Chebet. Now, despite having about 5 races left where Kenyans could still potentially add to its medal tally, we are facing a reality of what could be our worst showing in 40 years as the games wrap up. Now, joining us tonight to make sense of this is an avid fan of Kenyan athletics and a passionate recreational runner, Louis Achungo. Now, Louis is an avid Kenyan athletics fanatic and a passionate recreational runner. Outside sports, Louis is an IT expert by day. He called in on the show about 5 months ago and made some very interesting predictions that turned out to be true, which we're going to be talking about later on in the show.
He's also a farmer at night.
Yes, and maybe, and he's going to be talking about that. But for now, karibu sana Chief Louis, karibu sana to the OneMicShow. How are you doing today, Louis? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you very well. Thank you for welcoming me over to your show.
Okay, all right. Karibu sana. Alafu utaangalia kamera ndo audience waweze kukuona. Karibu sana. Now, where are you currently located? Because it's very unpredictable to know where you are. Where are you currently situated and how are you doing?
Well, I'm currently in Atlanta, Georgia. That is where I reside and I have been for a better part of my adult life.
Okay.
Despite moving here and there.
Okay.
And doing pretty well. Yeah, thank you. Enjoying the summer weather. At least for now, Atlanta's pretty better than you guys up there now.
Okay. All right, good. Now, you know, like as we get warmed up, just getting started, you were on the show 5 months ago, and we had a conversation about a lady, a Kenyan lady who now runs for Bahrain and just won a gold medal.
Yavi.
Just Yavi, just give us a quick recap of who she is and a brief recap of what you told us 5 months ago. She's now an actual Olympic gold medalist. Chief Louis.
Yeah, well, I kind of remember vividly about that conversation. Yavi, I think Yavi Tule, if I'm not wrong, that could be her native name. She hails from Machakos. She's a young girl. I think now she's 24, if I'm not wrong. I knew that girl from when she was 16 years old. And she was running in cross-country competitions for her school in Machakos for quite a while. Then she got discovered by her coach, who introduced her to Moi Kasarani Training Center in Nairobi. So she had to move and stay with her auntie or a relative, if I'm not wrong, somewhere close to Nairobi, and train hard during her high school days. And she really showed some kind of good prowess during her younger days. And with a pursuit to get into the under 20 competitions, of which right now you can see Faith Chalotich is doing very well in the under 20. Actually, she just turned 20 last year, if I'm not wrong. She was unable to make it to the team, and so she turned 21, and it was very difficult for her to come up and beat positions with Beatrice Chepkoech, who is the last world championship leader, if I'm not wrong now, gold medalist. And she also has the world record right now, Beatrice Chepkoech. So it was really difficult for her to actually make it into the team for some reason. So our coach called her on the side and told her, I think you have the talent, you have the capacity and the capability, but Kenya is going to be a very tough client for you. What you need to do is leave the country. And she didn't hesitate. So the coach was able to get an opportunity in Bahrain. They gave her a call. She walked into Bahrain, stayed for about 1 year, getting to know how the semantics are going to be in order for her to change her citizenship. And right now she has it all.
Okay, all right. So very interesting. And we're going to get to that part where we'll be talking about, like why Kenyan athletes are leaving to seek greener pastures in other countries. But in the meantime, I want to come back to the studio, and welcome the panel in the studio. And down on Zoom, I'm going to start with DJ Moshfire, and then we're going to go to Mika Ochu's on Zoom. So Mika, please get ready. But DJ Moshfire, how's your week been, and how's your overall feeling about the Olympic Games that are wrapping up, I think, this weekend? DJ Moshfire.
Asante. Thanks to all our listeners. Chief Louis, Asante for gracing us with your presence and your athletic prowess. Sasa, my week, it's been okay. We made it in here into the studio. Hii Friday saa zingine waga changamoto. Yani, anyway, for, that's, maybe you can translate for one mic. He doesn't know what changamoto is. So, yani, kusema kweli, Sure. It's been one of those. But Olympics has kept us busy. From, I think I would say, if you're an avid follower, it's like I lose 4:30 in the morning.
It's very early in the morning.
4:30, but
even
they're
before
breaks.
4:30, yeah.
They are breaks, right? So if you're doing like track and field, I think normally from about 4.
Okay.
From about 4 in the morning
Yeah.
till like 7-ish Eastern time.
Yeah.
And then you take a break, then you come back in around, depending on what it is that you like. If it's soccer, then you come in around at least 11 o'clock in the morning.
Soccer ni nini?
Football. So then then you take a break kidogo, and from about 1:30 or so, it's track and field.
Yeah.
Okay. On with track and field till like 4 p.m.
Yeah.
So it's a whole day.
Okay, yeah. I mean, those late night games, those rather early morning games.
I rewind because a lot of them
I've been watching. I've not been watching them live.
They've
been, it's been too much.
Qualifiers.
Yeah, because we've been struggling between Olympics, Mandamano, so many other things happening in Kenya.
You start from 11 p.m. and you work your way.
Yes, and then U.S. elections. So actually you start from 6 p.m.
Correct.
Like when you're following
domestics,
now.
Yes.
Yeah, with domestics. Anyway, we're gonna go to Mika. Mika, real quick, tell us, how's your week been, your overall feelings on the Olympics as they're coming to a close this weekend. Mika, twende kazi, and then we're gonna come back to Louis.
Thank you very much. My week, basically, how can I say this? This week I started like, it was raining, it was gloomy the whole week. So it was kind of one of those, those slow weeks. You just, yeah, Tuesday is here, Wednesday, then boom, Friday is here. It's hit you there. Nothing major to go for. We had Nane Nane, which happened as it happened. On the Olympics front, I will say there have been surprises, but pretty much looking at some of the results, and then you look at if you followed the worlds. I'm talking for athletics. If you followed the worlds, and then if you followed the words, and if you were following the previous the Oregon competitions, the competition that happened in Oregon, you were bound to see that this was an Olympic that was going to throw a lot of curveballs for a lot of people. And as you can see in most of the sports across the base, we have a lot of first-time medalists. We have surprises. We're not having a lot of repeat winners, but in others we are having some repeat ones. And I can just say, in terms of a neutral, somebody who doesn't support any particular athlete, they're having fun. It's a very nice Olympic to see because you don't know who's going to win. In terms of those who are used to certain names, it's very disappointing, but then again, it's not surprising. And we can also see now where the investment of sports comes in. Because you can see countries that usually were not winning some medals are winning those medals based on how they've been investing in them. So it's we can talk more about that during the show. And another highlight of this week, my boy Charisma released one album in Monomosha Mchezapo Ngoma Moja. I want to say anybody, if you love good Kenyan music, those who say music Kenyans don't have music, there's you can go to any streaming platform, search for Charisma and search for the album Motions, and I promise you'll be entertained.
Okay, asante sana Mika. And briefly, let's come back to studio, Mike. Just your overall feelings on the Olympics, what surprised you, what disappointed you, what's your general feeling now that it's coming to a close?
Let me say this. What was fascinating for me was, one, I looked at the Poland team, the men's volleyball team. Mm-hmm. The best player is a black guy called Leon.
Oh, damn. I haven't even watched any besides Kenyan volleyball.
Alafu,
yeah.
US and Italy, those are the powerhouses. They were playing for gold. They were playing for the bronze.
Oh, interesting.
Correct. Yes. Today.
Okay.
Poland and I can't remember who else are going to be playing for the gold.
For the gold. That's men's volleyball.
Men's volleyball.
Okay.
Higher. When you look at track and field, you look at some of the long jumpers. Italy, Blake. Germany, Blake. Somebody was saying Hitler is tossing in his grave as we speak. That is what I have found fascinating.
Yes. There's a lot of black folks.
Yes.
And of African origin.
Yes.
So there are many.
The lady who won the shot put, for the women who won, the lady who won shot put for the women, Ogunle.
Germany.
Germany.
It's German.
Pointy.
Okay.
So that is what has captured me. Also, I was noticing some of the final races, we're looking at the 100, the 200, on a lineup because I'm a dame.
Yeah.
Blake.
Okay.
So I think that was that for me was okay.
So the European countries are becoming Blake.
Okay. But that shouldn't surprise you, because you've been you're a very ardent fan of football.
Yes. And
if you're a fan of football, you quite understand right now that they have a lot of second, third generations athletes who are mixed race. So
right.
But I think black Europeans it's something that people need to start getting used to.
That's what I'm saying. No, yeah. black Europeans, yes, but black Europeans competing at that high level.
We were used to seeing them in soccer.
Yeah,
but previously, even when you go back to recent Olympics, it was not very common.
It was
not very common seeing a black Italian running for Italy. You know, like it wasn't common. In soccer, yes.
Oh, absolutely,
we've gotten
yes,
used to
Balotelli.
that. Yeah, but
the previous 100-meter champion is Italian.
Yes,
Black.
Jacobs.
yes, that's right.
Yes.
But I'm saying, you know, like this has now started becoming it started becoming a common thing in other sports. Seeing, because I think that first generation of immigrants, you know, like gravitated, of course, towards soccer because already playing soccer. But now they're diversifying to other sports where it's not an uncommon sight anymore.
Yes.
To see, you know, like a black German, you know, like doing shot put, or a black Italian doing the long jump,
Male
the
and
triple
female.
jump. Yeah.
And winning.
Yeah. So,
So-
that says something.
Yeah.
That says something in the changing faces of Europe.
Right.
And as you know, like xenophobia also in those countries.
Like a
and
nonsense.
being anti-immigrant has been increasing.
You mean in London?
Yeah, that has been increasing, and I think maybe we need to get someone from London to tell us what exactly is happening. This has been happening in other countries. This is common in countries like France. Italy has had its share of xenophobia.
Spain.
So all these major, you know, like European countries have had some kind of xenophobia. But anyway, let me come back to studio. Want to go back to Louis just to get his overall thoughts on the games before we go back to Team Kenya. You know, like, what were your highlights for this Olympics, Louis? What were your disappointments? What surprised you the most? Real quick, Louis. Twende kazi.
I think generally, if you look at it, the dominant countries when it comes about the Olympics has always been the United States and Great Britain, and at some point, and to some extent, I think there used to be China and Russia because of their populace. But the dynamics have really changed right now, although the United States is still, you know, staying on top in the collection of their medals. But what we are seeing is we are having Scandinavian countries and a little bit of some South American and the Caribbean countries that are showing up with excellence in some disciplines, of which have surprised many. When I look at it, personally, I feel like it's about time that we have to appreciate the fact that the world has become a global village, so everybody cannot be able to keep a secret for too long. And we tend to know what other people are doing, and we can gather the information, put it together, and, you know, enact on it and train just like the other persons that could be across the oceans and across the continent. So I'm not really surprised that the United States has lost in some of the mundane races of which they tactically should have won. Okay. And again, also for us here, the East African community too, we have really not performed very well. That's a topic for later. Very much surprised also by the fact that we are having some European nations actually setting up world records at the Olympics. That is just as much as unnatural. It's not normal.
Okay, all right. So very interesting that we are seeing, you know, like distances that East Africans ruled before.
dominate,
We are seeing Europeans, we are seeing Americans, you know, like starting to encroach on them, even winning golds. So that's something that we're going to be talking about. A couple of comments here coming while we're having this conversation. I see Washeke was saying, wasn't there a Kenyan female runner competing under the Kazakhstan banner?
Yes.
Yes,
there was.
And what discipline was this? Was it track and field?
It
or
was track and
track and
field.
field.
It was
Okay.
track and field. I can't
Okay.
remember maybe Washeke can remember.
Okay,
There was one.
Washeke, give
Kazakhstan.
us some details on that, because I mean Kazakhstan, you know, like the only thing that most people know about Kazakhstan, and maybe that's because of this American ignorance that sometimes we've been showered in, is Borat. Most Americans, you mention Kazakhstan, all they think about is Borat. But it's a very beautiful country. But I didn't know that Kenyans have already discovered Kazakhstan, and then which shows you how much countries are valuing gold medals, which we are taking for granted in Kenya.
Or
because
even meddling.
or even just meddling.
meddling.
Yeah, we've been taking them for granted because we've had them for so long.
But
Washeke-
aren't the Ugandans doing the same thing these other guys are doing?
well,
We have a lot of Kenyans who are running for Uganda.
that's something we're going to talk about. Those are not Kenyans.
Okay.
Let's be clear.
This is
those are not Kenyans.
Basawa.
Those are not Kenyans.
Sawa.
Remember, you know, like in these border cities,
You mean where Chief Louis comes from?
Border cities, not only where Chief Louis comes from, so many parts of the borders with Uganda. Remember, we once had a vice president in Kenya whose brother was a member of parliament in Uganda. Blood brother.
Correct.
Mudiawori. So his brother, I think, is called Agriawori. Was actually a member of parliament in Uganda. So very interesting. So I know because of those Kalenjin names of those Ugandan runners, people are assuming that they're Kenyans, but they're actually Ugandans. They're actually Ugandan.
Yeah.
And then Washeke. Father says Jamaican supporters have been disappointed. Washeke give us details on why Jamaican supporters have been disappointed. And then Washeke Father says many European countries have medaled for the first time due to black athletes. So this is another quite dicey conversation that we're going to have. Now, Louis, before we get to the Kenyan struggles, what are the remaining prospects for gold? Because I think we still have a couple of events that we haven't participated in, or rather the finals have not happened yet. So what other events are we expecting to medal in, Louis?
So far we have 800 meters coming up finals, and
Men?
the only hope that we have is Wanyoni Emmanuel, the young man from Tongaren. Apparently he comes from the same area as Omanyala.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
And Yule, and also the same area as Yule, was it called Yeswa Tongaren?
Yes, Tongaren.
Okay, same area. Okay, just checking, just confirming it was the same place.
Surely.
Yeah.
We also have an opportunity, and I think this is going to be a definite one, because there might seem to be a little bit of a kind of a grudge match tomorrow between Sige and our girl Faith. Keep it going tomorrow, 1500.
That is not a grudge match. That's a hater.
That's
wow.
I call it that way, okay? We also have a 5,000, but I doubt whether we will medal on that one, because we have a weak team for the 5,000 meters finals men's competition. We really struggled to actually be able to make it over to the second round. So let's wait and see how that will pan out. But I'm not really counting out on medaling on that one. And obviously, we have the marathon for the ladies, and as well as the marathon for the men. So we're counting on Eliud, hoping that we will not get another surprise again, because Kenenisa Bekele has a statement to make. It's interesting that these two gentlemen began their debut together in the marathon world at the same time when they left the road races back in the Rio de Janeiro Olympics. And now they're going to be towering away and walking out of the dancing stage at the same time in the Paris Olympics. We just saw Kenenisa Bekele blow out the Masters record the other day in the last marathon, which was the city marathon that he ran. The hours and the time that he actually pulled was 2:04, which is quite a generous run for someone who is about 40 years, which is up to the Masters level. And we have Benson Kipruto, and we have Munyao, who is, well, we are hoping for the best. He has really surprised us a couple of times at the Boston Marathon. On the ladies' side, we are depending on Helen Obiri. Hopefully, she will be able to give us something. The reason why is because if not for Asefa from Ethiopia, who is the current world champion in the ladies only marathon. And we also have Sifan Hassan, but Sifan Hassan is already beat because she's already run 3 races, and she even has one more tomorrow, of which you don't know how she'll actually be able to perform in the marathon, and she's not even sure about it. But hey,
she even lost today.
Yeah,
she lost today.
Well, she didn't lose. She medaled, which is better.
She did? I thought she was number 4.
She medaled.
Okay.
Yeah, she
medaled. You know, the thing is, she has this running style that it's kind of she has that old school running style whereby she doesn't use a lot of energy in the first stint of the race. She just keeps within the leading pack, not with them, but within them, and then she finishes strong. So I think that allows her to preserve her energy pretty well. But as Louis said, she's old. We don't know how much of legs she's still carrying. But I wouldn't discount her completely. But yeah, these young athletes on these Olympics, hey, one other rat race, 100 to 100. They're not even like from the first lap to the last lap is the same pace.
Okay, all right, yeah.
So
Louis.
I think to answer your question, Ali, we have a chance of at least getting 3 goals. Right now, I think we have 3 at the moment.
We have 2.
We have 2.
Yeah.
We have 3 medals, right?
No, we have 3.
Two gold. 2 gold.
2 gold and 1 bronze.
And 1 bronze, yeah.
And 1 silver.
Okay.
We have a total of 6 medals.
Yeah.
And so we're looking forward to at least maybe 3 more, hopefully, if you can cross our fingers.
Okay, all right. So we're looking forward to 3 more. So I mean, at least if we get those 3, we get 3 gold. It's not gonna be that bad of a performance. But then, with the depth of talent that we have, there was more that was being expected. And even on the best Olympics that we performed, I think our best Olympics might have been Tokyo 2008. Where I think we might have gotten 5 or 6 gold medals. I think we're at a point where we should now start getting more gold medals, and we're going to keep talking about that. Washeke says Nora Geruto is the runner for Kazakhstan and finished 9th in the 3,000 meters steeplechase that Yavi won. And of course, you're already talking about Yavi. We are still going to talk about her. One of those talents that was not managed properly by Athletics Kenya, or by whoever is vested in managing athletic talent in Kenya, and a couple of them, because I've seen Kenyans running for Israel, I've seen Kenyans running for very random countries, and yeah, we'll be talking about that. Again, I want to remind the listeners that you're tuned in to the One Mic Show. I'm your co-host and producer, Ali Badawi, and on the show tonight we have a Kenyan athletic fanatic and passionate recreational runner, Louis Achungo. Now, Louis is talking to us about Kenya's performance at the ongoing Paris Olympics. He'll shortly be telling us why Kenya has been losing top talent to foreign countries over the years. Our lines are open. If you want to ask Louis any questions, the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak, so feel free to call in. But before we continue, I wish to announce. Now, did people already type in?
No, they did not.
They did not. I think the only person who typed in was Washeke, and she said that Slay is going to be the guest. So, Washeke, we can confirm that that's wrong.
And JJ mentioned Mama Kamala.
Oh, Mama Kamala. Okay. That was.
I mean, there's
like a 1% chance.
She's there. I mean,
like a 1% of 1% chance.
Yeah.
Mama la kuja utuongeleshe bwana.
If Omosh doesn't sneak in Trump. Yes.
Yes. If Omosh doesn't sneak in Trump, my goodness, if Trump is sneaking over here, I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah, I mean, I like I wanted to reveal.
Give hints. How about you give hints?
The guest? Okay, hints. Let me see.
Something, and then we just you see if somebody will get.
Let me see. A hint.
Have they been on the show?
Okay, now I can confirm this. He or she's never been. Okay, let me say it's a he. That's one hint. Let me give it away. And he's never been on the show before. This will be his first time ever on the show. Na hiyo hint Mika ametoa, I think hiyo imetosha. Smile yake wanamaliza wa mama sana, and I know this is gonna activate wa mama who've been silent on the chat. They might have something to say about that. So type in, let us know who you think it is, and then we'll let you know. Very big guest is gonna be coming on later this month. We're gonna be revealing the dates too. I mean, Washeke says Ruth. I mean, of course, it's not Ruth because we said it's
he.
It's a he. So, and he has never been on the show. Na smile yake wanamaliza wa mama. So yeah. So please type up there. Let us know who you think it is, and then we're gonna be revealing that shortly. Now we wanna go to Omosh. You had something that you want. But if you give another hint, you'll give it away.
Are they from the coastal region?
No other hints being given. They are not from the coastal region, but no other hints
No,
being
they're
given.
not banana.
Yeah. No other hints being given.
See, I'm just trying to help.
And then let me see.
Slow has just been.
Yeah, and then Slayer say Joho, no, just Slay your
See,
own.
Joho.
And then Washeke says, no, I was just tagging Ruth here. Okay. So yeah, so we are gonna get back
Washeke
to
caught
that.
astray.
Yeah. we are gonna get back to that. Louis, wanna come back to you on the Kenyan struggles. Now, before we get to the Kenyan struggles, and Washeke, it's not Oparanya. It's definitely not Oparanya. Yeah, but I like your thinking. But it's not Oparanya. But now, going back to, yeah. Okay, now whatever Mika said is not associated with the One Mic Show.
And those are Mika's own
views.
sentiments.
Those
and
are Mika's
views.
sentiments and views. But anyway, back to the topic. The Kenyan struggles in the Olympics. Louis, let's begin with our very good friend from Tongaren, Ferdinand Omanyala. What exactly happened there? We had very high hopes. And I've seen that there's a pattern, like when he's running in Kenya, or I want to say on the African continent, he tends to score, like very high record-breaking times. But when he gets onto these big stages for some reason, that time is not much. This time he was not even able to make it to the finals of the 100 meters. I mean, of course, that lineup was so deep. This is one of the deepest 100-meter lineups I've seen in a while. But Louis, talk to us, with Omanyala's situation. I know it's not been easy for him preparing, but just give us, the lowdown of what was happening there. Louis.
Well, I happen to also be a very close friend to Ferdinand Omanyala, and I've watched him go through his training programs. I have facilitated some of his training programs here in the United States, albeit briefly prior to the Olympics in Paris. It would be too soon and too early for me to say anything because, number one, I'm not an expert. Number two, I am not deeply ingrained into his business and his daily activities and how he actually faces the races and stuff. But me being a friend to him and having been heavily involved with him while he's in the United States for the last almost 2 years right now, and helping him out also with access to trainings and just whatever that he would require for preparation to the Olympics. I would say this: there's always a good day and a bad day in the office. What could have changed? I honestly really do not know. He would be the best person to say what really changed. And he felt that after the very first heat where he blew the stage, but then coming over to qualify for the semifinals, it was a little bit harder for him. He would be the best person to answer that question. I don't think I'm in a position to answer that one. But what I can also say, though, is the depth of the field that he was running against to qualify for the semifinals was quite unimaginable. But also, if you look at his time that he ran a pretty decent time. The earlier heat, he did a 10.8, it was 10.81. Then the second one, he also did a 10.8 something, but those guys are smashing a little bit higher numbers than that. What really happened there, I cannot tell. Honestly, I do not know. Even when you speak to Coach, he has his own explanations, and I wouldn't want to share them at the moment. It's still fresh in the minds of many, including him himself, Omanyala, and his manager, and his coach as well. So I don't want to get myself into those details. But when you get to look at majority of those 100-meter runners, they all perform best in their home crowd. Noah Lyles, when he runs back home here, he smashes numbers that are very unbelievable. When Oblique Seville ran in Jamaica, where Omanyala was also participating as well, he literally smashed the record. He did a 9.78 and no 9.79 before Omanyala came out. I think he did a 9.78 in Kenya, I think, if I'm not wrong. No, Omanyala had done that before. So Omanyala, when he was in Kenya, he did a 9.77. That was in 2022 or was it 2021? So it's more of a home advantage. When you have that crowd puller, it kind of like gives you that enthusiasm and motivation for you to actually do better. Me personally, knowing Omanyala, he's somebody who relies on the crowd a lot to push him. So probably, maybe that could also have been some of the anesthetics behind it. But I'm not a professional to be able to determine that, so I cannot answer more.
Okay, fair enough, Louis. And I think the next Olympics.
Mimi got maoni.
Yeah, ngoja kidogo Mika. I think the next Olympics is gonna be in the United States. So if Omanyala is coming, I think we can guarantee him that he will have a very big crowd of Kenyans cheering him there. You know, because Paris, I don't know, you know, like how many Kenyans are there, but when the Olympics comes to the US, I think there will be a very big 4 years from now.
28.
Yeah. So he'll still be, you know, like he'll still be eligible. I know Nimbali, but he'll still be eligible. But Mika kona maoni, I can even hear, you know, like I can even anticipate what Maoni is gonna give. But Mika, let's hear what you have to say.
Have you heard him sigh?
Yeah, let's hear what you have to say, Mika.
No. I totally agree with everything that Louis has said, right? And one thing that for me, I can say the difference. Like if you saw that field, I know people are. Let's look at the finish. There was a photo finish of 3 guys, right? Those are 3 guys who had a photo finish for the number 1. So that's how close it is. But then if you look at the chasing part, it wasn't that far off.
No, they were close.
It was right there, right? So this is where it comes down to what advantages do you have over the other athletes. So you have talent. All of you have talent there. You have speed, right? All of you have speed, you have technique, you have trained, right? But there's something called game day preparation, game day readiness. And sometimes game day readiness goes to a single thing as who has the better supplements than the other one. Because you need that extra edge to be able to allow your body to synthesize that protein and give you the best advantage of it. To give yourself that energy boost that you need, so those carbs that are in your sugars are burnt faster than anybody else. Your lungs have to be tip-top. So it goes down to sports science. And that is why there was that edge in that particular race. Like everybody was so good, but then if you look at the people who finished top, are the people who are actually close to resources than anybody else.
So just to chime in a little bit also on there, Mika, sorry to cut you short for there, my apologies. Having a chat with Omanyala just after this whole situation, he told me some point that, Louis, I have beaten everybody that was in that field before.
True.
And like right now, I think the number 1 person is Usain Bolt. And we have Tyson Gay, and I think we have Johan Blake. And remember, Omanyala also beat Johan Blake in Kenya during the Kenya Classic. There's Asafa Powell, Justin Gatlin, then Christian Coleman, who was not in the race for the 100 meters because he didn't qualify. Then there is Trayvon Bromell, whom Omanyala beat also before, and Fred Kelly, who was there. And Omanyala is the number 9 in the world right now with 9.77. So even if Noah Lyles came up with 9.79, he still has not beaten Omanyala's time. So what I'm trying to say is that when athletes go out there for these races, there's always a good day and a bad day. You would think that maybe I'm prepared, but some dynamics may just not be able to make it, and you turn back and you say, no, this is not my day today. So probably the best person that can be able to explain that in depth would be either the coach or the people around him that look at his physiology and those kind of anatomy.
Well,
Yeah, that's true. That's true, Louis. I agree with that. Like, at the end of the day, the person who actually will be able to explain everything himself is not even the coaches and everything, it's the runner himself, because he's the one who's right there on the field, right? Maybe while you were warming up, you didn't warm up, you didn't warm up well. Maybe you pushed or something. Maybe you're not just feeling it that day. You didn't sleep well. Your mind was like, it's. There's so many reasons. As somebody who has played sport, I can tell you there's so many reasons whereby you have a bad day and you look at it, and everybody looking at you knows that you, when they were seeing you training, when they were putting you on the field, they knew you're gonna have you're gonna beast that day. But then it's just into you. So that's true. That's it. Like for me, where I'm coming from with my point, where I'm coming from my point is just saying that the support system also sometimes comes in play and helps out. But at the end of the day, it's the athlete who will tell you the more reason why that day was not a good day. But let's continue this conversation. I need to end it. My Django will come in later on.
Okay, sawa. Asante sana Mika. And you know, with these 100-meter runs, to me they're very interesting. They're one of the most interesting events because the margins are so small. It's a breath, it's a step, it's, you know, like how you lay down the head, you know, like on the finish line, you know, what they were calling the torso, you know, like the margins are so small.
Yani chest.
Yeah, the margins are so small. And that's when I learned that you could have crossed, your legs could cross fast.
Torso, chest.
But what they count is the torso.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's the head or the chest.
Torso on your chest.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you see most runners, when they do what they do is they
lean forward
with the
yeah.
chest.
But then my thinking, you know, like my amateur thinking was, because you're running with the legs and this is a foot race, they would look at whose feet cross fast. That was my thinking, and that's why.
That would be a disadvantage. You could not run miguu refu.
I mean, kuna watu wana miguu refu ndio, but of course longer legs, that will always be an advantage because you're clearly taking fewer steps than a shorter person over the 100-meter range. So
since steps, kuna watu wakiatu number 12.
That's another thing, yeah, and of course, because margins ni ndogo, even a bigger shoe size can end up making you be the one who crossed that line first. So quite interesting. I think they should allow draws because Ikitu, I think at the best they should have given both of them gold medals. But
Ali imagine that, you know, when you're an Olympic champion, this is something you've worked out for 4 years, right? There is that pride. There's just some competitions there's some things that cannot end in a draw. There's some things that they'll have to have a winner. Because this is something like, you see, give an example, DuPont, right? DuPont has won everything in rugby. They didn't have to come and play the Olympics. But that pride of playing the Olympics.
Yeah.
You see somebody like Toll, right? How bringing back rugby to the Olympics was such a big deal to him because he had a dream of playing in the Olympics, and he was running before he got rugby. But then, when there was a chance of rugby they petitioned it, and you see those countries that actually made rugby come back, or these smaller nations like Kina Fiji, Kina Nani, who have never won a gold medal in the Olympics, but rugby gave them that chance.
Okay.
So there's that pride that you cannot say, like, Kituko Olympics can never have a draw.
Okay,
there has to be a clear 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. There's other sports that give draws in Olympics. For example, easy to come up pole vault, high jump. They've given draws before. So, but anyway, that's a story for another day. A couple of comments coming here.
So Ali, one thing just before we digress on that one.
Yes.
For 100 meters, after learning from Omanyala's manager the other day, he told me that they do not consider the arms, legs, or feet when you get to the finishing line. They look at your body, the torso is what they look at. So somebody else could be having longer legs or maybe longer arms. They don't count on that. And that's exactly what Mika was saying. So they look at your torso, that's what the chest is what they look at, that will determine when you have won the race or not.
Okay, all right, very good to know. Like some hot take comments have been coming here while we were having our conversation, and then Stephen JJ alikuwa anasema Jimmy Wanjigi. No, that guest is not Jimmy Wanjigi, but I like how you guys are thinking. I will say you're in the right direction. I think I'm gonna give another hint. This is someone who's gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna read the comments. Yeah, this is someone who's coming from Kenya. So that right there is another hint that I'm gonna give. So type up if you know who that guest is gonna be. So yeah, so some hot take comments were coming here while we were having this conversation. I wasn't even sure, should we read them, should we not? But anyway, because my fans were comments, I think it's only fair we read them. So Esther Mulusa feels like cheating on Laventa jinxed him. The same thing happened to Tiger Woods, just saying. And those are the opinions of Esther Mulusa and Esther Mulusa alone.
And not endorsed by the OneMicShow.
All right, there you go. That's Esther Mulusa's feeling. And then Washeke hapa anasema Esther, the power of a praying woman. And then, hey, okay, wow. And you guys are going in on this. Washeke, Esther anasema, Laventa raised him up when he was in the trenches. Women impact destinies. It ain't no jokes. Because we, on the show, easy ni story watu nasikia from the rumor mill. We don't have any evidence. We can't talk about that. That's
moving swiftly.
Yeah, moving on swiftly. Now, Luis Muya says, I agree with Mika. Sports science, correct me if I'm wrong, Omanyala performs well in meets where he only has to run one race. But in multi-day events where he has 3 events within 2-3 days, he seems worn out towards the end, semifinals. Okay, so another interesting observation. And then Mubelwa says, it's the nose that counts, Bana. Okay. I don't know about that. That will give an advantage to people with long noses.
Like him.
Like Mubelwa. So Mubelwa atakuwa na advantage kwa 100 meters.
Ile mbaya.
Okay, sawa. And then...
You're saying that he has a whitey nose.
And then hapa, Brown Sugar Jones Minotis anasema Onesimus Murkomen. No. It is not Onesimus Murkomen.
And he's not coming with watches.
Yeah, he's not coming with watches nor belts. He's not coming.
Murkomen akikuja kwa show tutampiga ngeta. Mimi kuenjoy.
Washeke amesema Sakaja Dimples. No, it's not Sakaja Dimples.
Wow.
But I like how you guys are thinking.
They are moving, eh?
But I think hapa pia Washeke ana reveal because unakumbuka ile hint Mika alitoa pale mwanzo. Ile Mika, hiyo Mika, hiyo hit yako Mika, hebu rudia tena. In your own words.
Smile yake umaliza wa mama mbaya.
Okay. So sijui kama smile ya Sakaja
ilimaliza wa Nairobi.
Yeah. So sijui kama smile ya Sakaja ilimaliza Washeke, but Washeke amesema Sakaja Dimples.
Kuna Sakaja, kuna Oparanya.
Na sasa kuna Engineer Sudi.
Hizo zote zinamaliza
Sudi.
Watu ni Washeke.
Now I'm starting to suspect Washeke's taste. But anyway, Mika tupatie hint.
Niongeze hint moja. Namba yake ilipeanwa asalimiwe lakini watu wakaanza kumkatia akitaka date.
I think that will be good enough.
Yeah, that will be good enough. Namba yake ilipatiwa watu wamsalimie, but watu wakaanza kumkatia kuitisha madate. Wamama wakaanza kumkatia. But anyway, we will be revealing that shortly. Let's see, if people can take hints, and then we'll talk about that. Now, going back to Kenyan struggles, Louis, we haven't been performing as well, because I remember there was a time when we ruled most distances, men and women, starting from 800 meters, going to 1500 meters, 3,000 meters steeplechase. It was that was
clockwork.
We were customers, as we would always win it, clockwork. And then 5,000 and 10,000 meters had been a challenge, but we were very competitive in both 5,000 and 10,000 meters. From what we are seeing so far, there is a lot of struggle. Some of it is being attributed to others knowing what we are doing, and even others coming to Kenya to train in Kenya, to train with us and see what we are doing. But then again, there is the aspect of preparation that has been brought up before by former marathoners, former athletes like Douglas Wakihuri. So, Louis, could it be that other countries are out preparing Kenya? Because we know where the talent lies. Like there's no doubt where the talent lies. But could we be victims of being underprepared, or are other countries out preparing us? Or what is happening, in your opinion, Louis?
Wow. This could be a discussion that will take hours.
Actually, let's take those hours, Louis, today. Pia mimi niko na time ya kuongea hii story.
Yeah, there are a lot of factors, very many factors. First of all, let us be honest with each other. Our country is ridden with corruption, a lot of greed, and selfish interests by anybody that is in power. Even that little watchman, I would say, sorry to use that word, little watchman, even that watchman at, an apartment complex, for as long as he's wielding that power over you, they can literally give you a very hard time if they wish to, and you'll regret it and you wonder why. We know that happens. It comes back from the colonial times, and it's ingrained to where we are right now, and it just drilled us all the way down to our political crisis. I wouldn't want to bring the political analogy into this conversation. I don't think it is important per se, although it still also impacts the performance, the preparedness, and the day-to-day life of our athletes as well. So when you look at it this way, some of the elite athletes, they have already made their way, but you do not know how they did it. Some of the young athletes, or the budding ones that are actually coming up, they have to get to know someone. That culture in Kenya of you must know someone, or you must have a network, or you must have a connection in order for you to have the doors open for you. We have a bunch that have really tried to showcase what they can be able to do, but they're always pushed back. And we saw that at the Olympic trials. And this is not the very first time. We saw the same thing at the Commonwealth trials. We saw the same exact thing going on prior to the Tokyo Olympics. We saw the same exact thing also happening prior to the Rio Olympics, when we had some political wrangles to do with the kids and stuff like that was going on, where athletes had to actually go source for money. I know of one athlete that had to go sell land, his father's land, so that he could be able to bribe an official in order for him to get a position in the team to make it over to the Olympics. Not this particular Olympics, but the past ones. These are stories that are already very well known. And with the political situation right now, and the economy, how it has also been running, and poverty that we are experiencing back at home, majority of our athletes are running away from poverty. It's unlike, maybe I want to talk about other countries I do not know, but let me talk about the United States. Someone like Gabby Thomas is running from what kind of poverty? I don't really think there is any. This is a Harvard School student with a master's in epidemiology, with a bachelor's in neurology. I mean, surely there is no poverty she's running away from. What is a student like Shakari running from, at LSU, doing very well? These are people who had coaches straight from high school. Some of these coaches, like Titi Terry, was followed by her coach all the way. The coach was actually literally in Paris today when they were running the 4x100. And she has remained her coach all these many years until Titi has made it. Tia Clayton from Jamaica, Coach Francis, who was her coach in high school in Jamaica, in St. Monica and St. Christopher's and St. Catherine's, where she went, her and her twin sister, is still the coach until today. Faith Cherotich does not have a coach. Faith she was discovered running during cross country, I think it was cross country, no, high school competitions. She just finished Form 4 last year. When she did her Form 4 last year, if I'm not wrong. Yes, she was 19 years old. She doesn't have a coach. She does not have money to pay a coach. She has to find her way around in order for her to showcase her skill set. And the Athletics Kenya body does not give a damn about that. They do not care how or where you have come from. You come show us on the table what you have. And if you have something small to give us, maybe we can be able to give you an opportunity. That was the case before. Or if not, then we'll just figure it out. The ones that have been there before and they can talk well, they'll go ahead of you. It's the same situation that Yavi went through. So Yavi had it very hard for her to even make it under the under 20 team. And she decided, her coach actually is the one who advised her, leave today, just go if you can. I'll find you something to do somewhere else. And let's see if this agent that you're talking to will make the door open for you. And she moved over to Bahrain. In Bahrain, you might ask me, why did these fellows leave Kenya and go to other countries and they succeed and they've been doing better? That's not even a question to ask. Number one, those guys have very good training facilities and they invest in them. If you look at us during the Olympic trials in 2024, the athletes were almost going on strike. I think some of you guys might have seen Diego standing up for all the athletes.
Yeah, we remember
And
that.
he said that this is not a good thing for us guys to be provided substandard fields for us to go ahead and prepare for the trials for the Olympics, because it meant for even the 5 and 10,000 runners and even the 800-meter runners, they were not going to have time that would be accepted for Olympic trial qualification time if they were going to use the Ulinzi Sports Stadium. I think it's on Langata Barracks, if I'm not wrong. Something like that's I think where it is. So they had to convince Athletics Kenya to allow them to either use Nyayo Stadium or Kasarani. But again, at around that time, Nyayo Stadium and Kasarani were busy being used for this pastor. That's politics. I don't want to get myself into it. But for other functions that made no sense. While we were supposed to be investing all this energy into our athletes, when we know that the Olympics is barely 6 months away, the trial times have to be submitted way beforehand. The deadline was June 30th. We had a few people who were injured from the other races that they were running during the year, because that's how they make their daily bread for some reason, because Athletics Kenya doesn't care about what you do prior to national duty. You're on your own. Ebenyo got injured. Ebenyo was, I think he still is, I think the second fastest half marathoner right now in the world, if we speak. He's missing out. Why? Because he could not be able to make it because he fell and stumbled. But Emmanuel Wanyonyi, who stumbled on the trials, I think to the second or third heat, he was able to appeal and they allowed him to go ahead and represent Kenya. There are reasons behind it. Ebenyo's time during the whole entire course here with the races that he's running outside the country were way much better, and they're very well known and accredited in all the stadiums that he's ran. So these investment training facilities that we're having in Kenya are an issue. And that's the reason why you find someone like Yavi, you're having someone like Helen Obiri. She's moved over to Colorado. Is it Colorado? Yeah, she's in Colorado right now. That's where she trains. We have Mary Ngugi. She's now the owner, or rather the creator and the CEO and owner of Nala Girls Academy in Nanyuki. They're all outside the country training because they have better facilities out there. The coaching programs do not exist in Kenya. If you look at Kelvin Kiptum, the late, I knew about Kiptum about probably 6-7 years ago when he went to Valencia. Kiptum didn't even have a coach. He didn't even have shoes. He went to his cousin, Geoffrey Kamuror, and borrowed him his shoes for him to go run at the Valencia half marathon, where he shattered it completely. At that point in time, Athletics Kenya did not care where you were. But the moment you show up somewhere where you've used your own finances, because he had to buy his own ticket with no coach, no athletic gear. He didn't even know how to maneuver his way around Valencia, but he shattered the world record. Before now, he went back and then he smashed. He came number 2 with the marathon completion of, I think it was the first flat race, men only, of which he won as well. So when you look at it this way, the coaching programs in Kenya do not exist. They pick you from high school, or you find your way from high school by yourself, and you say, my dad has nothing, We have nothing at home. I have inherited zero. The only thing that I can be able to do is become an athlete. That's what Kelvin Kiptum did. He refused to go to Polytechnic and become an electrician. He said, I'm going to run. But run where? He could not even be allowed to go to his favorite spot where he used to run, which is closer to his home, called Fluorospar. You have to pay to go there. Those guys go late in the evening or late in the night sometimes. They practice for maybe 2-3 hours, then they drive back. Unfortunately, he left us while driving from Fluorospar, going back home. If we could have training facilities that are funded by the government, if we could have coaches that are actually funded by the government, most of these coaches have to be paid. Many of them are working pro bono, like the Catholic priest at E10. He doesn't charge anybody anything. That man has just been chipping out and bringing champions in and out whenever you want it, and he does not even ask for a penny. When you look at the exposure to international competitions, these guys cannot be able to afford to be able to go out there and compete with other people so that they can actually feel the pressure of what it means to actually be outside the country and compete with their fellow competitors. It is hard for them to actually be able to do it. But when they go to other countries like Bahrain, where they have very few people that are competing, yet they have the money and resources to invest in athletics, and they get to treat their athletes with decorum. There is no corruption. And when you look at the exposure that they generate and they give them, Yavi has ran, I think, 4 or 5 different Diamond League races last year. How many do you think Major Beatrice Chebetas ran last year? She didn't run many. I think she only ran 2. And then before that, she was running the cross country. We have this young girl, Immaculate Anyango. She's the current second fastest 10,000 meters cross country runner. Immaculate came to Atlanta. She attempted to run the pitch to road race. She had no coach. She was all by herself. She got into the bus, went to the hotel. The following day, she was flying out. Nobody cared about her. Those are the issues to why when you find some of our athletes, they get an opportunity when they get out here, they will run away with it and leave. And don't forget, we have spotters that are always looking for them. They're always looking for them. So the moment they find their ticket to be outside the country and a spotter gets to see their talent, they pick them up and they never return back to Kenya.